Okay, I'm going to call the urban renewal meeting to order of Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance because Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. Everyone is here except Eric.
I believe he'll be here in a few minutes.
Okay. Do we have any additions or changes to the regular agenda, or can somebody accept it? There's so much on here. Do I have a motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the agenda.
I have a motion from Heather,
A second.
a second from Vern. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Okay, public comments. Public comments are an opportunity to present information or speak on an issue that is not on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes for each person. Visitors may state their comments and should not expect the council to engage in back and forth dialogue regarding the comment. Council may either choose to add it to a follow-up meeting or direct the city manager to follow up with the speaker. Are there any public comments? Seeing none from the audience, are there any online? Hearing none online, we will move on to number 6. The budget adoption and resolution URA 25-01. We have any
You're opening a public hearing.
Yeah.
I'm opening a public hearing,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, I now open the public hearing and here comes Eric. Is there any discussion on the resolution for the URA? Or the URA visit or? Okay. Can I close the public hearing? I'll close the public hearing. Okay, so moving on to number 6, the URA. Budget adoption. Resolution URA 25-01.
Mayor, we've just been pointing out, there's a, Scribner's error on the resolution, so when we adopt it, we want to adopt it as amended to say, instead of contingency debt service.
Okay.
Same number, just wrong word.
Okay. There is debt service on here.
Are you looking at the URA one?
In the
The budget
resolution,
hearing notice.
in the resolution.
Oh, you're looking at the resolution.
Yeah, the resolution
Okay,
is
what I was looking at and I didn't see it.
And the one we're in this report is sorry.
yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll read it and you can stop me when I get to that point.
It's just the word
Just under section
contingency
3.
under section 3.
Contingency.
Oh, okay,
That's debt service.
I see it.
Yeah,
And we'll edit it before you sign the final copy.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. John Day Urban Renewal Agency, resolution number URA 25-01. Be it resolved. Section 1, adopt the budget. The urban renewal district budget was approved by the Budget Committee and presented to the Board of Directors of the John Day Urban Renewal Agency at their June 24th meeting. Is adopted as the budget for fiscal year 25 to 2026 in the amount of $118,136. Section 2, declaration of tax increments. That the Board of Directors of the John Day Urban Renewal Agency resolves to certify to the Grant County Assessor a request for the John Day Urban Renewal District area for the maximum amount of revenue that may be raised by dividing the taxes under Section 1C, Article 9 of the Oregon Constitution and ORS 457. Section 3, make appropriation, that the Board of Directors makes appropriation for the purposes shown below for the fiscal year 2025 to 2026. Urban Renewal Agency Operating Fund, Materials and Services, $49,136. Debt service, $69,000. Total, $118,136. This resolution is effective on July 1st, 2025. And if we pass it, it will be passed and adopted with its correction by the Board of Directors of the John Day Urban Renewal Agency this 24th day of June 2025. Is there any discussion? Do I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
Heather makes the motion.
Do I need to give the number?
Yes,
please.
please.
Resolution number URA 25-01,
as amended.
as amended.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Heather makes the motion, Eric seconds. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nobody? Passed. Unanimous. That is all we have for the urban renewal. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to say, I am going to adjourn this part of the meeting. Meeting adjourned. What?
You should have waited 10 minutes.
I know, I waited another 5 minutes, I could have just been cool my heels at home or something.
Okay.
He could have driven the speed limit.
If I could have seen the word continue, we would have known what happened.
It has to be later, because I can't specify a time to do it.
You can't if you say directly after.
Instead of the time.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to call the city council meeting of Tuesday, June 24th, 2025 to order. Please all stand for the pledge of allegiance. With your hats, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, all councilors are present. Public comments. Public comments are an opportunity to present information or speak on an issue that is not on the agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes for each person. Visitors may state their comments and should not expect the council to engage in back and forth dialogue regarding the comment. Council may either choose to add it to a follow-up meeting or direct the city manager to follow up with the speaker. Do we have any public comments? Seeing none from the audience, are there any online? Hearing none, I'm closing public comments. Consent agenda. All matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to every member of the city council for reading and study, are considered routine and will be enacted in one motion of the council. If separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. We have the AP through 6/10 of 25 and the budget committee minutes of May 12th and May 27th. The minutes of the council meeting of May 27th, 2025, and the minutes of the council meeting of 6/10/2025. Do we have any discussion, or can we approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Eric makes a motion to approve the consent
I'll
agenda.
second it.
Heather seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Okay. Let's go to the first ordinance. Excuse me, I need to get those nice.
I'll just go ahead and start.
Yeah, you go ahead.
We'll kind of take these together. You'll adopt them or make a motion separately, but ordinance 2503 and ordinance 2504. Water and sewer ordinances separately, but they kind of do the same thing and enacting policies with regards to what we would call kind of like snowbirds. This is a practice most cities are now adhering to, where formerly John Day was if somebody was going out of town or they were going to their home or their second home or leaving for months. Turn their water off and we would stop charging them. These ordinances allow us to keep charging the base rate. We will still turn their water off for a fee, and then we would still charge them the base rate. So they don't need to worry about their pipes freezing, but they would pay the base rate. It also clarifies how we deal with our billing, the way our billing system works. We were using a system where literally Sarah was sending out late notices the day after payments are due out of our cost and to everyone that hadn't paid by that date. Took her almost all day to do that. And you can imagine if somebody pays their bill and it crosses in the mail or something, you know, she's doing this every month. So we did away with that. If you haven't paid your bill by the due date of the next billing, so you almost have 2 months, you get a $20 late charge. We were not charging late charges, so that's new. We're also doing away with some, what we call pink slips that she would give them. There was like many steps, and so we're simplifying it, adding late charges, adding base rates, and clarifying fees.
So we're not charging late fees now,
No.
but in the new process,
We will.
you will be, but
Yeah.
you've got a grace period. Apparently.
You have a long grace period, yeah.
Okay,
I think it's like 10 days.
it's reasonable.
Chris?
City manager, usually once a month, when I was on the council, we got claims for non-payment and we were writing those off. Are we not writing off bad bills?
I have not heard of that since I've been here.
So
for
what
the
do we
year.
do with people that don't pay?
I think their bills are adding, or I have no idea. I don't know if there's that many that are that late or if they're making payments. I know that Sarah will set some people up on payment plans if they're paying. So I don't know. I've been here a year and no one's ever told me about filing claims and writing them off. So I don't
So
think
if
we
somebody
want to
doesn't
do
pay
that
for 2
practice.
years, you just keep it going?
I would think
I
by then
don't
they
know.
have their water turned off.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you're not, your water's gonna be turned on
Yeah,
after
but we
2
still want
months.
to turn them in. And so it goes on their credit record that they're a deadbeat.
Yeah, I will check into that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And a question I have is there a process for, civil recovery?
You know, we've talked about that internally. When I got here, I asked if we turn people over to collections, and I think because everybody's kind of new, fairly new, there's a step they're lost. They don't know that we ever, or Sarah has, and it's not Sarah at all. She's great, fantastic. But I just think there's some practices that have been lost or we aren't doing.
We did turn it over to
So,
collections.
yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you don't get the full
Yeah,
amount.
most cities-
Yeah, so-
most
Yeah.
Eventually, at some point, yeah.
And so that's it's something on my radar that we are gonna have to set up.
Well, this will be a
And we're hoping this will
opportunity
help,
to do
yeah.
it.
That's already in code for us.
Any other comments, questions? Um. Since this is. Do I have a motion
Well,
to?
you wanna have opportunity for public comment and then
Okay.
ask if anybody, opposes reading them in full.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Is there any public comment? Anybody online? Yep. Okay, do I have permission to read this by title only, or do you want me to read it whole?
That would be in the motion.
I move we read the ordinance by, title only,
What ordinance?
2503.
2503.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 25.
Read it by title only first.
I'm, okay, well, I was gonna do that
Well, you
while I
can
was.
entertain a motion.
All right, ordinance number 25-03, an ordinance amending Title 7, Chapter 4 of the John Day City Code, which chapter concerns the City of John Day water system, utility rules and regulations to address temporary water services, including fees and charges concerning temporary services and declaring an emergency. Do I have, a motion to approve the ordinance as read, title read?
I move that we approve, ordinance, right, yeah, ordinance 2503 as, read by title only.
I'll second it.
Eric makes the motion, Heather seconds, all those in favor? Aye. Approved. Chris, did you?
I did not vote no.
Oh, you voted no? Okay. One no vote.
I don't think it's fair that people that leave here for 6 months, which we have a lot of people that do that, have to continue paying for something they're not receiving.
Okay, any? Okay, that was.
And then there's ordinance number 2504, which is the sewer ordinance.
Okay. Do you want to say anything about that?
It's exactly the same, just on the sewer side.
Okay,
And I'll just clarify, we're declaring an emergency because we can adopt these by July, by the new fiscal year. And Sarah can implement it in the July billing.
okay, is there any public comment on the sewer system utility rates ordinance? Do I have anybody online? Do I have any discussion? Do I have a motion to read this in title only?
I move that, we read, ordinance, 2504 by title only.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Eric makes the motion, Heather seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. Unanimous. There'll be no discussion. I will ask for a motion to approve ordinance number 25-04, an ordinance amending Title 7, Chapter 5 of the John Day City Code, which chapter concerns the City of John Day sewer system utility rules and regulations to address temporary sewer services, including fees and charges concerning temporary services, and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance 2504 as read by title only.
I'll second.
Eric makes the motion, Ron seconds. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Chris opposes, the rest approve.
Same rationale.
Hmm?
Same rationale.
Same difference. Okay, we're moving on to the budget. Yay. So. We have had our meetings regarding the budget. And we are ready to move forward with approving it. So, do we have any public comment on the 2025-26 budget? Lewis,
Question, I know in the budget committee, it was brought up with, community development fund, that the council is available to adjust how they use that fund. There were suggestions made, and there's no determination what we're gonna do, so what I take the budget as, the budget committee basically did a tacit approval by not saying anything. And about potential changes. And I bring this up, one is because we failed to answer the question that was brought up by city manager and Rob during the budget committee meetings. And also, just so that you know, the House legislature just passed House Bill 3962, which is gonna allow you more money, so you can be flexible to invest in essential activities for the cities. So you have that opportunities, and that decision was not made.
Yeah, he's right. It looks like they're going to do a 60-40 split. It hasn't been approved yet, but that is something that will allow more flexibility with the city council on that tourism dollars to spend. You will be allowed to spend it on law enforcement, your streets, a little more flexible with, infrastructure. The rationale being that tourists use those infrastructure and, you should be able to repair them. And so, there's a couple different things. You can know that it's in there and not spend it. And just save it and hold on to it. You can choose to use it for something, or you can keep it as status quo and people come in and ask for it. There's 25,000 right now, under that 30%, budgeted in your budget.
If it gets approved.
I think it's approved. And
So it's kind of pie in the sky at the moment, or?
no, this 30%'s always been there.
Okay.
That's a rule of the state. It's 70-30 split. You have to spend 70,000 of your TLT dollars on tourism and 30%, 70%. 30% goes, the city can use at its own discretion.
Okay.
There's no restriction. Yeah.
The 60-40.
They're talking about a 60-40 and then opening it up to more flexibility. Yeah. So,
Advantages, disadvantages.
Well, it's actually, it is at the council's will. I mean, it is exactly what you want to do with it. So obviously, if your priorities are leaning in one direction and you want money to help supplement that priority, you'll be able to use that money. If you like the fact that you're giving back to the community and you like doing those grants, then you do the status quo. It's a total council decision on where you spend that money. I would suggest that what we've seen or what's happening already is that, those grant requests are gonna start coming in from the same people every year. And if you don't have some kind of policy, maybe that might be something council wants to work on, because you'll be giving to the same people every year, and then other people won't have a chance to get in on the money. So, you might wanna put some policies in place, or, there's different ways to do it, but you might wanna think about that, because we already have a request for next year's money, and you haven't even approved it yet. So, and then what happens is the same, you know, what happens is in the future, they rely on it, and it becomes an automatic, and then when you don't do it, you get in big trouble. So,
Thinking on it.
just things to think about.
Yeah, we might want to put a number of year limitation on it or something, and they have to go off of it for a year and then they can come back, like, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep, but it's up to you, what you do with that 30% right now. It's sitting there right now in the community development as, community money. You don't have to spend it. You can say, we're not giving any grants this year, or you can do the grants. It's up to you. But it's there.
Council?
My reels.
Sound like a work session to me.
Well, can we approve the budget?
Oh, yeah, you don't have to spend the money. It's budgeted.
So we
Yeah.
have to approve the budget.
Yeah, I know. Work on that.
Nobody's getting paid next month. We don't, this is just Lewis's input, which is really important.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
thank you.
It's like that's for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can definitely do that, because
Mm-hmm.
it does sound like we've gotta come up with some rules for it.
If you're gonna choose to keep it as a community fund, yes.
Mhm.
I think when this legislation passes, that'll probably be the time to
Yeah,
get after them. We'll know what we're doing.
Just
okay,
so, just to let you know, there is an application already that wants to be on next meeting agenda to get approved, so. I'm just letting you know, so
You said we don't have to approve.
you don't have to approve it. No.
Where do you get the applications?
I'll talk.
My wheels are grinding.
Yeah. I can see that, okay. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed about the budget?
I'd like to ask Rob a question.
Yeah.
Since the SRS was taken out under the parliamentarian of the Congress, out of the big beautiful bill that passed, where's that in the budget?
It's not.
It's
We
not,
didn't-
It's gotta go.
So that'll be a,
yeah, we never.
You
put
can do
it-
it by
we didn't put
resolution
it in the
because
budget.
it's restricted revenue.
okay, so it'll be a
So if we
resolution.
receive restricted revenue for a specified purpose that we were not expecting at budget time, we can record revenue and expense equal to those amounts, and that goes right in the budget by resolution.
Oh, great.
We will be doing some of those with, any grants or
Yep.
federal funds that come down.
The way we handle the sewer fund this year, if we get funding for the sewer fund, we'll be doing the exact same thing. We'll be doing it by resolution, because we didn't put any expenditures into the sewer.
And what
fund.
was the SRS last year for us about?
This, from the county.
Yeah.
Like 170.
It's around
We have
there.
been told though that the county's changing their policy, and just because they get it, we may not get it,
75.9.
so.
That'll be a, no, never mind.
That's my understanding is the judge.
It'll be your
Yeah.
house.
So even if I think it comes, the county may be changing its policy, so.
Yeah.
Another question on, police and code enforcement.
Hmm.
We have 150,000. Is Prairie gonna maintain their police department?
I don't know what Prairie's doing.
Okay, also, what?
Prairie's approved budget contains $100,000 for police services.
And 50,000 is,
Code enforcement.
and who's gonna do that?
We don't know yet. It's just budgeted in there because it was a priority for council.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments about the budget?
I want to thank the budget committee members for working on this. Because
You're welcome.
it's a lot of work and
I agree.
and I
You guys
appreciate
did
it.
a good job. It was pretty smooth going, I've gotta say.
Yeah, but I had a great group. and I
I was,
appreciate
we
it.
had a really good group. So I expect to see you all
Even
next
if-
year.
Throwing them to the bus and making it-
She's been threatening me.
Okay, if there's no further discussion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2501, a resolution to adopt fiscal year 25-26 budget in the amount of $6,958,813.
I will second that.
Chris makes the motion, Ron seconds it. All those in favor?
I-
Unanimous.
Just
Want to just keep going, Chris?
Sure.
Okay.
This involves state revenue.
mm,
I make a motion, we adopt resolution number 2502, a resolution of the city of John Day, Grant County, Oregon, approving participation in the state revenue sharing program.
Do I have a second?
second.
Chris makes the motion, Eric second. All those in favor?
I
D.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 2503, a resolution to impose and categorize taxes for the fiscal year 25-26 budget in the amount of $2.9915 per thousand of assessed value for operation.
Chris makes the motion.
And the.
And exclude from invitation $50,000.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Chris makes the motion
I'll second it.
and Heather seconds it. All those in favor? Aye. D.
Nobody else can handle it.
You're on such a roll.
I know.
Such a roll, Chris. Okay, do I have a motion for
Okay.
the approval of resolution 2504?
If I got the verbiage handy for 2504, I don't mind doing it. Yeah, oh, that, yeah, I've got that, yeah. I move that we approve resolution 25-04, resolution to appropriate the FY 25-26 budget.
I have a motion by Eric. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
To approve.
It's probably been very wrong.
Oh,
I don't care.
he doesn't care. Ron seconds it. And the last one.
This one might be some discussion.
Yeah, this one needs discussion.
I'm almost positive of it.
Mhm.
Mm.
Okay, do you want to go into that one, Melissa?
Yeah, so, did you vote
The appropriation?
the appropriations? Do we need a vote? Final vote?
I don't think so. Just-
I have Eric moved and Ron second.
Ron seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
With the budget. Thank you. I agree.
Okay,
Minor little details.
it's unanimous.
Thanks, Rob.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Legit.
So, one of the housekeeping or cleanups, we're trying to do and grow as a city is, a lot of cities have master fee schedules, and this is actually really, for your citizens, your customers. If they come in and they don't know how much things are costing, it's really difficult. If everything is done by an hourly rate, or you have to do this, especially our planning right now is really, really onerous. We have to charge them hourly by every single person that touches something, and they don't get a bill till the end. And their bill is astronomical, and they didn't know that it was going to be, they don't even know what the costs are up front. We can't tell them, and it's really not a good way of dealing with your citizens. So we put our land use in here. We did prices that were comparable to other cities. I've talked about this in other meetings. You've heard about my rationales for this. We did PowerPoint. We've looked at the costs across the board and, we added some that you might want to have up for discussion. We took liberties with some of the fees on, burn permits you might want to discuss, the fire hall, mobile vendors. And some of these we weren't charging at all. Liquor license, we were not charging at all, and we have to sign and approve these. And so, these are normal fees in most cities. And so you're actually, John Day's losing a lot of revenue, that we're doing a lot of work for, but we're not getting revenue from it. And they're not very much, they're not really high dollar fees, but they do add up, and there is accountability there. If we're signing off on or if we're not signing off on a mobile food vendor, or we're not signing off on a liquor license, or we are, then we're saying that it's okay what's happening there. And really, we should be routing those people, should be looking at that and saying, yeah, we get what's happening there, that it's okay, that everything's in order. So it's kind of an accountability thing, it's a liability thing, and then it's also recouping those normal fees that, you know, most cities do have. So feel free to discuss, ask any questions.
Fence permit.
Yep, we added a fence permit. Because we have fence regulations, but we have no permit.
What? So you're gonna charge somebody to put something on their own property?
We do all the time. Yeah, because we have regulations regulating it. And so if we have regulations regulating it, we need to be able to have a mechanism to make sure people are doing what they're supposed to. Otherwise, how mad are you going to be if you build a fence and we have regulations that can only be so tall, or it can't be somewhere, and then you build it and we come tell you have to tear it down? If you pay a $50 fee or a $10 fee, we review it and we say yes, then you're good to go. Yeah, and it's already in code. It's not something that's new. It's just the permit is new.
Yeah.
They're pretty common fees.
I have a problem with the
Yeah.
fire hall. When this was being
Yeah.
planned, I sat up as I was mayor, and one of the things we said to the people is, we're gonna build this room and it's gonna be available to the people. We're going back, I know you can't hold former councils to that, but that's what we told the people. I
Yeah,
know it's $25, but
no, I mean, you have a point, but again, it's available, but that doesn't mean we can't recoup money to maintain it. So right now, there's no budget to maintain this, and just lately, people have been leaving it in disarray.
well, then don't let them use it again.
Well, they're good because you do it under different people. I actually had one person rent it for a whole, a party, and they weren't even here and didn't even attend. And so, there has to be some kind of accountability. And you can do it, again, this is for your discussion, council, so you can revise as you see fit.
Okay, what other cities did you look at?
I looked
Specifically,
all over Oregon.
specific cities.
I looked at, all of them, well, I'll give you the list because I looked at a lot of them. I looked at probably 25 to 30, maybe upwards. I mean, I was just going through every city because I wanted to make sure that all our fees were kind of comparable. Plus, we're dealing with LCOG and they have fees that they do with other cities. Like I said, Ontario's really low, but I called their city manager to ask why. So there's a rationale there.
I was gonna ask the same thing.
Yep. And I told you that in a previous meeting
Right,
too, that I had called them. Yeah.
I checked Sandy, Canby, Malala, Happy Valley, even
Mhm.
though they're bigger than us.
Yeah.
Lakeview.
Yeah.
And you said Ontario. I'm really upset that I'm getting, and I usually don't get people to talk to me about planning fees. But some of the contractors that are doing, and I'm talking about the Ridge, they're wondering exactly what are they getting charged? They get a fee, but how's that figured? We don't have that right now from the planning people. We used to have
Do
that.
have that. That's the problem is there's a breakdown and it's hourly and we have to charge them every time the attorney talks, we have to get those bills and they're itemized and we get them. And we have to put every single cost in there. So they're actually paying more than this would be. They're paying more because at some point we do subsidize somewhat, but it has to be comparable. We can't even tell them how much their fee is. Right now, the fairgrounds, Mindy's doing a project.
Oh, I
We
heard
can't
about
tell
it,
her how
trust me.
much. Right, and she's gonna wind up paying a bunch, but at the end of the day, we can't even tell her how much that is. It's backwards.
So
They
what did
should
we
be
do in
paying a
the
flat fee.
past? How do these people build all this stuff beforehand?
I don't know what was being built.
What?
Well, I think, I mean, the citizens were being forced to eat a lot of this. And we didn't have a fee schedule. This is a very common document. And what it does is it sets the expectations up front. A developer can walk in and they can look at the fee schedule and they can understand up front. Okay, these are what my costs are gonna be. Rather than saying, I'm sorry, we don't have a fee schedule, so by law, we have to charge you cost recovery per hour, and it's just gonna depend. And so this gives anybody doing business with the city an idea of what the city's cost recovery for doing that business is. And I think we have a fiduciary responsibility to the citizens to make sure that we aren't just giving away our services for nothing, for people who are gonna make a profit, most likely. And, you know, cost money. Now, I'll give you an example. I was with one organization that said, hey, you know, we want to keep it was part of a local government. They had a copy machine. They let the public use the copy machine. And they said, well, we want to keep our fees lower because we don't want people to have to go down to pack shipping more and make copies. And you can't do that, right? The statute's very specific. It's got to be your cost recovery. And although it was well-intentioned, I think, but, and this wasn't even in Grant County, but it was well intentioned, but the governing body said, oh, wait, that's right, you can't do that because you're gonna run a local business out of, local company out of business, and you're not treating the citizens right, you're giving something away just because somebody's asking. So, I mean, as far as the fees go, I think it's a good starting point.
So what are the type one is a residential home?
Type one is administrative only. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just done administratively. Yeah, like a residential home, maybe a duplex, yeah.
So what is a residential home getting for home occupation permit?
They have to go through and they are looked at our code, and you have to rationalize it and do a decision based on our code and go through all the criteria. And it
That's
takes
not the
time.
Question I'm talking about what is that person getting for an occupation permit? So
So
is that
cities have
That the
a,
developer is,
cities have a responsibility to know what's happening. So if you have a home occupation, you have to know what's being done in that. So for instance, it would be routed to police, fire, and all things, and you go against the criteria of your code, because if they're doing gun manufacturing, or if they're doing something that has flammable liquids, that's regulated.
so what you're saying is that this is a residence that is trying to do a business out of the residence?
Yes, sorry, I thought, yes, home occupation. Yeah, you're operating an occupation out of your home. And there's criteria about how many vehicles and what, you know, the
So it
hours of
goes-
operation, signage,
So, okay.
yeah. Sorry, I misunderstood the rest.
So then if a homeowner decides to put up a fence, they don't have to do a permit? Or is it just a business?
If you pass this and a homeowner is doing a fence, right now they have to call us and ask for the regulations, or if they don't call us, they do it, and then we have to go out there and tell them they did it wrong and make them tear it down and do it right. This would provide a fee where we're routing and we're looking at making sure they're doing it, yeah.
So that means if somebody does a specific sign on their home, say, that says their address, they're gonna have to pay
No.
$250.
That's the signage code, and that does not apply. It's an exempt from their sign code. Now you're talking about code and not fees. So code is different. Code will exempt, you have a sign code, which is then gonna exempt certain signs. That's a code.
One thing, this is town of Lakeview, a little bit bigger than us. We're gonna charge for property line adjustment $300. They're going to charge $110, almost 3 times more. Now, that was one of the contractors they talked about.
Mhm.
A lot line adjustment for $300. What do they have to do?
Yeah, in some cities are 500. I mean, it just
I'm saying,
depends.
some cities, that's true.
Right.
I'm
right.
looking at city, Lakeview,
Right.
you must not have checked Lakeview.
No, I did, but there's a median and there's a, how much it's gonna cost us versus Lakeview versus Seattle or Portland or whatever. I mean, you have to take what it's gonna cost our city for us. We don't have a planner on staff. We have a contract planner who does a really good job and is actually cheaper than getting a contract planner that would be private. So our fees are somewhat lower, but yet at the same time, we have to recoup fees. And development's not cheap.
But I would like to see
Yeah.
the ones that you told us, maybe 5 or 6 of them across the top and what they charge. So we can have a comparison. I don't know if we're in the ballpark or not. I know we're not in some things and we're higher in others, lower in others.
But that's a, you know, I mean, that's interesting, that's a lot of staff work.
Well, she said she already did it. She already.
I did,
No,
oh,
but
I
she-
didn't do spreadsheets.
No,
I
I'm
called
talking,
and looked
I'm
at
talking
my
about
computer.
some products like that. I mean, I think it's very easy to go check other communities if you got questions. And this fee schedule can be amended anytime. Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a resolution.
I guess the question is, what is the city doing on a lot line adjustment? Because the lot line adjustment goes through the county, it does not
No,
go
it
through the
doesn't.
city.
It has to
No,
go through
it
the
goes
city.
through the city. It's a land use from the city.
It has to go through the city first, but it does.
It's a planning, yeah.
So the option.
The Ridge is doing a lot line adjustment.
Yeah. Well, the option is you don't have a fee schedule and you just charge by the hour and they get the bill and they don't know what they're gonna pay until you fill.
And it's gonna be higher. I mean, I will tell you right now, everybody right now that has planning in the mix right now is paying higher than what this is gonna be. Because there is some subsidizing from the city and when you do these, because you are recouping some and not. Because some, you can't always anticipate with planning applications what you're going to get into. There may be some that are just, there's things going on that aren't easy. I mean, we're dealing with some of this with the Ridge and there's easements, there's open space, there's thing, you know, and so you don't really know all the time. They're not gonna, that's why you're gonna win some and lose some, but it's a steady monetary, people know when they come to the table and they're doing a CUP, here's the money, here it is. And so some people would be paying $10,000 and then the next guy comes through and does the exact same application, land use application, and they're only gonna pay 5,000 because they're different things and different.
Where does
The
the
way they're
land
handled.
use application go?
Where-
Goes to the city, and then there's a land use application at the county.
There's a building permit at the county. Land use is the land is city and building does, and county does building.
Do we have a master fee schedule now?
No.
We do not at all.
No.
So if I go back to Mindy and say, okay, we've got the schedule set now, shouldn't have any more problems, Mindy.
No, she's already in the mix. She's
I know.
already before this, so she can't go back and pay. It's not retro. I mean, she's already in the mix. She's already paid a bill, one of the bills, and she's gonna get more, but everybody coming through after this is adopted would use this fee schedule. It can't be retro.
So all the fees that were put in place before didn't exist. They were just kind of flip a coin and the city.
That was,
No,
it was
just-
calculated on a by hour.
Yeah, it's just every time somebody touches it, you charge.
So when you have somebody come in, let's just use lot line adjustment. If it's a very simple lot line adjustment, it might be less than what the fee is on here. It might cost the city less. But if it's a more complex one, it might cost the city more. So you use the amount that's on the fee schedule as a medium. Some people are gonna get if you have a complex application, you're gonna get a better deal than you would if you were just getting charged by the hour. If you have a very simple thing, you're probably gonna pay a little bit more than you would if you were just charged by the hour. But just charging everybody by the hour the bad thing I don't like about it is it's impossible to manage people's expectations. Because you're basically taking their money before you're telling them how much you're taking.
Yep.
And
And they've already been approved and they don't pay. It's hard to go recoup it.
right, and then staff has to spend time doing all those calculations.
Yeah,
So there's a reduction in the staff time, overall by just going by a fee schedule, because you just take the schedule, don't sit there and do the stubby pencil work and say, okay, the attorney, we talked to the attorney for 30 minutes on this, and we had to go over and talk. to the
Sending out
county.
invoices every month. to
Yeah,
people.
and so you can just look at the fee schedule, you say, this is what it costs. You're done. It simplifies it, and it's a medium. And there are people with very simple things that are probably gonna pay a little bit more, but there are people with much more complex things that'll pay less, but overall, the city's cost will be recouped on it.
Walk me through a lot line adjustment. Who looks at that?
The city, our planner, and
Where's the
so
planner located?
he's remote.
Okay, so how does he look at it?
He gets it all by, I mean, we have email now and we scan things and he gets all the information. He phone calls people, we do Zooms. I mean,
And,
he's very accessible.
yeah, but who looks at the actual line?
That's put,
It's all on
that's
it.
put, that's put the county, what happens is server comes out and does the lot line adjustment.
Yeah.
He goes to the county, he puts it through to the county, and the county reviews the lot line adjustment for the distances and, in bearings on the line and how it will affect the square footage of that, adjustment to each lot. And then they make a determination that it's what they want, whatever the code is or whatever the county, determines.
That's if you're in the county. If you're in the city, you go and you file an application with the city because we have code that determines how big lots can be, how much impervious or, you know, I'm giving examples that may not be true. Where there's right of way that's needed that we have to get,
So aren't
and-
those the same as the county?
but it has to be approved by the city. So we have to go through the land use
So what
process.
they're doing is they're going through two processes.
No. They go through the city. And we do the land use process, we approve it, then they go record with the county. They
Yeah,
just
that's the
record.
only thing they're doing at the county
Yeah.
is recording.
We approve the whole process and go through the lot line adjustment because there's easements and there's the water and sewer hookups and they have to stub out and there's SDCs if they're building, you know, that kind of stuff. So we have our own processes and our own code in the city. And so all these land uses go through the city and then they get a building permit with the county.
Under our code, what role does the public works director play in planning? I mean, like a lot line adjustment or?
He provides comments, fire,
Does he have to
public
approve it?
works, engineer.
Does the public works director have to approve it?
No,
Are you sure?
yes, he provides
Okay.
comments.
Okay, just
Yeah.
wanna make sure.
Yeah.
That's on the record. Okay, thank you.
Well, I know I looked at, I've got a small lot that I wanted to change and when I read what the city wanted me to go through and there wasn't any determination that it was gonna cost me this much, we, you know, you may get charged for this, you may get charged for that. And it was of no tax benefit for me, so I just forgot it.
Yeah,
Seems like a road.
But if you had a fee schedule, you'd know it.
I didn't know right up
Yeah,
front what it
right.
would cost
we
me,
said, yeah, you're doing a lot
but
of consolidation.
that's the reason I didn't do it,
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
it makes sense.
I guarantee you, I guarantee you that the fairgrounds, the Ridge are probably paying way more than they would under this fee schedule.
Oh, trust me, I've heard it.
Yeah, but I mean.
Because they
that's-
have no idea what they're paying,
Right,
That's why we're doing
Right.
fee schedule.
That's why we're doing a fee
Yeah.
but
schedule.
they're getting charged. They wanna know.
they do.
Josh
know.
would like to know, okay, I got charged $800 fee. What was that for? That's all.
Counselor Loudhart, they get individual invoices with the fees on them and what they are. We are not breaking them down by hourly rate of the planner saying I spent 0.5 minutes on doing he does work on them and he charges us with, depending on which project. So they are getting those broken down by who's touching them and who's working on them.
But not the specific thing. They're working on.
Well, that's kind of irrelevant to this discussion,
Yeah.
because
Well,
this
not
fee
to-
schedule, it is,
Not to the
because,
contractor.
because it is, because this fee schedule will solve this problem. This won't even be a discussion. There won't be any more, I don't know, I'm being charged for, I don't know how much I'm gonna get charged for. I feel sorry for those guys. But the city has never had a fee schedule in place. It's always just been willy-nilly. Yeah, okay, this sounds good, or, oh, I like you, don't worry about it. You know, there was
Yeah.
no format. And these developers, it's not so much what the fee is, they just want consistency, they want predictability. They wanna walk into a project and know, okay, I know my fees are gonna be $10,000 on this project. They don't wanna walk in going, well, it could be 5 or it could be 20, you know, and they want predictability, and that's what this fee schedule does. The fees can be adjusted over time, they'll probably go up over time. The county is going to increase its building permit fees by 50% this year, because they haven't been increased for years. And which is, you know,
It costs a lot.
which is a lesson learned, but you know, they're looking at the same thing. They're looking at how do we sustain our operation with the fees that we're basically just giving away to people. And contractors, they know that's the price of doing business. And there's always incentives out there, and Ron talked about it, but
So Eric, you're saying that Ironwood Estate, there was no planning fees at all for that?
I don't know. I can't speak to Ironwood Estate. I don't know, but what I'm
That
telling
was a
you is
major thing.
there was no fee schedule.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm
They
sure
might
there's no
have
fee.
paid some fees, but I.
There is no fee schedule in place at the city of John Day.
Written down.
They had fees, but they were, so they had little fees, like $100, but then it was added on to that 100. So it was like you pay $100 up front, but then you add on the cost of everything after that. So what you might think of as a fee schedule is there were fees, but they were low. They were like $100, $200, but then you had to pay after that all the costs that came after.
Afterwards.
So it wasn't really like a fee schedule, like here's your cost. It was like, here's like a little down payment and then we'll get you on the back end.
Right.
Which is, I mean, again, not
Well, we hired you because you have planning experience,
right.
correct?
Well, I don't know if that was the whole reason you hired me, but
Well,
yeah,
that
I
was
do.
on your,
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
okay.
I appreciate that we're finally getting something like this in order. You know, if this wasn't there before, I'm really glad to see something like this come along. I've been wondering about some of these things myself. And, you know, I think it's high time that we get things in order.
Yeah, in
It's a
this way,
step.
it's across the board, it's fair for everybody, and nobody can say, oh, well, we'll give you this or that. You know, this is the fee, this is what we're gonna do. It's across the board for everybody.
That's exactly the reason I didn't go ahead with it.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea of it. Well, we may charge you for this, we may charge you for this.
Yeah.
With no figure.
And remember, this is a starting point. This is just what we could get to you. I imagine there'll be some tweaking. We look at this, the resolution will come to you every year at budget time. This will be an every year thing at budget, and the fees will be adjusted. And so, or new ones added as we find out. I mean, because Public Works is getting, you know, they're working on this stuff too, and there might be things that come along that they say, oh, we need to add this. We didn't realize we're out in the field and we do this. We're learning and we're growing and we're working it out. And so we might be adding stuff, backflow. We might do backflow next year. You don't know. So this is a work in progress, and it's just the first step to get in front of you. Okay.
Oh, well,
I was gonna say, I can't tell you that, how many times I've heard from people that live outside the city boundaries say, why do you live in the city? I get all the services free and I don't have to pay for it.
That's right.
You know, and so this fee is recouping the costs. We've been subsidizing a lot of the county for years. And this is helping us to recoup those costs and let people know what those costs are. You know, and that's what Melissa and Rob's been trying to do, you know. And one minor thing I just want to make clear, under item 9, this was not a budget committee recommendation. This is 9E.
Oh, yeah.
I want
yeah.
to make sure this was not a
Yeah.
recommendation from the
No,
budget committee,
no,
although I commented on it.
we did present it, but yes, I just threw it in with the resolution. Noted.
anybody else, Vern, Ron, anybody?
Well, I'm sure that you have, in your research, you know, have kind of pick the middle of the road for some of these things, and I trust that.
Well, I appreciate all the work you put into it, 'cause I know that's not easy to do.
I just think that it's really a super good idea because it levels the playing field.
Exactly.
You're not gonna get folks saying, well, he got a deal because he knows the good old boys over here. But you're a newbie, so we're gonna take you to the cleaners. I mean, it just gets rid of all that,
Yeah,
makes it pure, simple and clear, and there's your fees. Either choose to build or don't. At
Don,
least you
did
know.
have something you wanted to say? Okay, I think Melissa said that in the call.
I just spend a lot of time cleaning.
Yeah.
You were talking about the
see-
room.
Yeah.
It's costing us money in my wages to take care
Yeah.
of other people's messes.
John,
And sometimes
I'm
it's a
letting
real.
everybody talk. John,
Well, how much is my burn barrel gonna cost now?
how much is your, what? Your burn permit?
$10.
$10.
And how long will it last?
1 year.
1 year.
Mhm.
I guess that's not too bad.
That is not too bad. It's better than my business license, let me tell you.
I just had to ask.
Yeah.
I like having this.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good thing, and as we go through the coming year, we can see where adjustments need to be made, if they need to be made, and see how unhappy we can make everybody, and, well, move on from there.
We'll see
When will the fees
if I
begin?
do the lot
July
line
1st.
adjustment.
Gotta have a starting place.
Yeah,
So the year will be July 1st and June 31st, that'll be a fiscal year.
right. So,
Business license is only $50 a month, a year. That's not bad.
I was only paying 30,
Oh.
and I paid 2.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, you haven't seen my water bills for 2 businesses.
The way we were doing business license, a lot of cities do it the way we were doing it. There was nothing wrong with the way we were doing it, except it asked about
Carl.
employees.
Most places do that.
Yeah,
Yes.
but smaller towns, it's just easier to have a flat rate and
Yeah.
not have to, because then they're talking to Sarah and saying, well, I only have 2, but one's, I don't, one's part-time. And it's just easier to have a
Yeah.
flat rate at our, the way we are right now with our city and the amount of businesses we have.
John?
Another question, and instead of going online to get a burn permit, we need to come down and pay our fee, right?
We'll work on trying to see if we can do some online stuff. Tech is a big thing next year with us.
Just asking the question.
Yep, agreed.
So let me ask this question, one quick event plan application, public property only.
Yeah.
Is the fairgrounds public property?
Nope,
That's not public?
We
not
don't-
for us. It's not a city.
We
They're
don't-
talking about roads, parks, mostly parade events, or if they want to close down like the side street or something, yeah.
The city
Yeah,
has
that's right.
nothing to do with
So
with the
if
fairgrounds.
The Grant County Parade going through the city of John Day has to pay $150 permit.
They will, because it costs a lot of us to approve those. We have to have ODOT approval, we have to have fire approval, we have to have police approval. We have to submit, we have to route those to people and get comments. I think in the past, I think where the frustration is, Chris, I think in the past, staff or maybe the city hasn't been the liability on the city, we haven't been doing the correct procedures. We just haven't been doing things right. And so when you have to start doing things right and it takes staff time and it takes other people, you have to recoup those costs because you're spending a lot of staff time. And so we're growing up a little bit. There's gonna be growing pains, but really for a liability issue. And you asked about my background, planning. These are all planning things and these are all legal things. And unfortunately, we really need to start paying attention to those. And I understand it's gonna make some people unhappy because they're gonna have to get their permits in a little earlier. Because it's not gonna be just a rubber stamp. We have to do the correct procedures.
Okay. So. So. You've had a chance to look this over. We've talked about it. Does anybody want to approve a resolution? You make a motion to approve a resolution setting in place a master fee schedule.
I move that we, approve resolution, 25, dash 05, a resolution setting in place a master fee schedule.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Vern seconds, Eric makes the motion, Vern seconds. Any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed?
No.
Okay, Vern and Chris oppose.
No,
Brad, I'm sorry, Vern. I did,
Bernie seconded the motion.
that's one, okay. Okay. All right, moving on. Finance report. It's time to wake up, Rob.
Wake up here.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, so, we'll do one, we meet next month, are we meeting next month? I don't know.
July, not, well, we'll discuss. but-
Yeah, anyway, last one for this year, unless we meet in July, but that'll be in next year anyway. So here's our budget actual through May. Still looking strong. We've got, we always look for those negative numbers or numbers below, the percentage that we should have left. We should only have 8% left, because there's only one more month left. And there's none that are really in that. I'll provide some explanation on some of that. So street fund, we have more revenues than we expected in the budget, so that's why there's a negative number there. IT fund has been over and continues to be over, expended. There's no way to fix that. And then, debt service fund. Yeah, we're done paying debt service, so that's okay, even though we only have 3% left. Same thing with community development fund debt service, 1.06 remaining. Motor pool revenues, those were budgeted to get right around 100% anyway, so we're not gonna do any more there. Not gonna go under that 6%. And then on the next page, water fund revenues are gonna pretty much be right on target. They've got 8% left. And then debt service in water fund has 5% left, but we're not gonna make any more debt payments. Same with sewer fund, 5% left, no more debt service payments. So that's where we're at. Everything else has plenty of room to roll, for the budget. Any questions on the kind of the global budget before we move on to the line item budget? Okay. Last page here, this is the legal and professional services, line items. Remember, just because these are over budget doesn't mean we're over budget, because they're part of appropriations categories, which we just reviewed. But it was requested to have a little more, clarity and visibility to these types of expenses, and so we're presenting those. Legal and water fund, sewer fund, street fund, IT fund, community development fund, and URA are all overexpended. We do still have some room left in general. Professional services are overexpended in water, sewer, street, IT, community development. There you go.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Rob? We're good? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
You're the whole way through me. And ask whatever you want.
Yeah.
Definitely look.
Well, were you going back tonight?
Yes.
I just wonder if there's some way that when he's gotta drive back, that we can't move him ahead of,
Yeah. Get him.
I don't mind. This is the summertime. I get to see the elk out in the fields
Just
at
don't-
Whitney.
Yeah, we just don't want them to get
It's the
too
time of
close.
night too.
Yeah, in the winter time, maybe we could talk about that. You know, sledding my way back home, but,
And tonight it was the budget, so he had to be here anyway for that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Right,
but sometimes I stay the night. It just depends. It's not. it's just
Okay,
not a
well-
big deal.
I think you're a real asset
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I want to keep you as long
I
as
know.
I can, but let you go home.
I actually don't mind the drive. When I lived in Portland, my commute was over an hour and a half. I only went 20 miles, but it was over an hour and a half each way anyway. So it's not a thing. I just don't stress about it. I appreciate the sentiment, but
Okay,
Okay.
But I assume you will stay on with the city for another year? Haven't heard different.
No, he's, we're
I really appreciate
taking care of our contractors.
this.
Yes.
We've never.
We've never had one of these, ever.
Mhm.
I realize that takes a little work and
it does.
it's the last minute thing for us, but I appreciate
That's,
that.
yeah, it
Yeah.
does get done the day of.
It was definitely asked for many times and never given, so I'm glad we get it now. City manager comment.
Fair. So to start, DEQ came, we had a powwow with DEQ on the ground here on June 12th. They brought I guess the word is contingent of people. We had their funders, we had their engineers, we had, the business organ, we had, the governor's office represented, Courtney was here. Many people, our engineers, Don was here, and we just, took them on site. We took them to the existing plant. Which is kind of a shame that Don's got it so well running and all fixed up. Cause you almost wanna say, look at our dilapidated plant, and it's wonderful now. So, anyway, had a good talk with them. They brought up, a, idea about evaporation. We did spend some money having that research to see if we could do it because it would have saved us from our $5 million filter and drilling wells. And sadly, the research came back that we cannot do the evaporation method with what we have. So we're back to the filter. But it was good to know. I mean, it was money well spent. So we did that. What I did hear today, which is good news, is we almost positive are gonna be funded from the state. Not the 10 million, but maybe 5, which is really good. I mean, that is a testament to this body rallying and going before the mayor, testifying continually on any chance she got, and us just keeping the representatives on notice. So kudos to this council. You guys really did well. So it's not the full amount, but it's more than we had before. And so it will pay for that nice, pretty filter we're gonna get. Yes, amazing. So I'll tell you when it's actually official. Public Works, as you know, we discussed last time that we do not have a public works director. We're going out for recruitment. However, meantime, city staff, we have had plenty of interns show up and apply, and we have taken on, and we have just want to tell you, we have one in admin who's been working in the office for the summer, who's been scanning all our old documents. She started with all the ordinances from 1908, from ordinance number 1, and she has scanned I think she's almost done scanning all those in, and then she'll do resolutions, and that is getting our archives digitally. So that is pretty cool. We're having fun reading about the opium dens and our $75 recorder a year. So, anyway, we have that. We have 2 interns that are working wastewater and fire. Half their, salary is being paid by a grant for the fire. They are doing great, and learning the wastewater plants. So Don can do some of those things that he has to do. We're still working with some OSHA, plans. And he's a little behind on, I think, his fire reports, got to get caught up on, and he now might be able to take a day off because he doesn't have to be here to do those hourly reports. We have 1 intern who's working with Public Works, and we'll have another starting Thursday. Todd has just been amazing. He is, actively working, just to give you an update, we are working on, I wrote it down. Street cleaning is gonna happen for some of the streets with sidewalks and curbs. We'll be putting out a notice when that happens. He's been painting the curbs, getting it repainted, weed eating. He's got pothole filling starting. Just been doing amazing. And so with those extra help, that's all being taken care of. And then we might have another one. One of our interns starting, working in public works, we are going to try to transition them to, doing some code enforcement, some light code enforcement. So, provided our codes are all up to snuff, which we're having checked, we'll kind of try to see how that works and start that program. So we have an amazing group of, people, and, there's no reason why we can't hire someone if they work out and they're, part of our team, so.
Okay, we've
then-
gotten some very positive feedback from people about things that are getting done around here, so I really appreciate those guys.
And then council, if you mayor, will put on your list to discuss the second meeting in July.
Oh, okay.
Are we gonna see a job description for the public works director?
Yes.
I
If
know
you
it's
want
not-
to.
It's not on our website yet, so.
Well, no, the recruiter will have it all out and when they have it, I'll post it, but, if I can email it to you when we have it
I'd like to
done.
know what the salaries are, because I've checked all over the state for salaries. And question, did you offer our public works employee the position of public works director? Todd,
That is a personnel question,
Mhm.
so I'm trying to be careful because I don't know what I can say
that's-
out loud in a public.
he shared it with me that, yes, you did.
Yeah, okay, well then, if you share that, that's fine, yes.
So if you think he's
Yeah.
qualified and he turns it down, then, well, then, oh,
Yeah, this is.
I don't think that was the question, I mean, yeah, I'm not
This
gonna.
shouldn't
yeah,
be
yeah,
discussed.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
Okay.
I am very impressed, and I think Todd's doing an excellent job,
I do too.
he's a rock star.
Okay. Council comments.
I'll go first, you have it before you.
Yes, sir.
Last Wednesday, I have this all emailed. I emailed City Manager Bethel requesting the above item be placed on the agenda. We're talking about signage on the restrooms on Main Street. And I believe the mayor even mentioned that we need to cover that sometime. I understand I did not meet the 1 o'clock deadline per city charter. There have been times when the council did not receive the chart or the agenda by the Wednesday deadline. This additional agenda item could have been added easily and a revised agenda could have been updated. I'm now requesting the city council add by request on the following ordinance of the city charter. This is, as you can see there, new business. The mayor or a council member may bring before the council any new business under the other business portion of the agenda. We should have that on our agenda. We do not. Under our code or under our ordinance, we're supposed to. Just go by the ordinance. These matters need not specifically listed on the agenda, but formal action on the matter shall be deferred until the council meeting unless deemed urgent. This item's been on the back burner for the city for a while. I researched information on signage and installation. This took less than 1 hour of my time. My email back from the city manager says she doesn't have time. It's the weekend, it's a vacation, and she just doesn't have time to do it. So I said, well, I'll do it. I didn't tell her.
Okay, hold on just a second. So I'm just gonna stop right there.
Yeah.
You missed the deadline.
I know.
And.
We have missed the deadline
You're beating up on our city manager and that's not fair.
Okay, I'm
It's
just
just not
saying.
fair. A lack of prior planning on an individual's part does not constitute a crisis for our staff.
Okay.
I was late to the meeting tonight. It's not Melissa's job to call me and remind me that I had to be here at 6 instead of 6:30. I'd forgotten. She's not my servant. She's not my secretary. And I don't expect that of her, and none of us individually can expect that of her. We are all just individual citizens until we're sitting here in this group and vote as a body. And so I agree. I'm just frustrated because I feel like you're beating up on Melissa and she's just following the rules. And that's what we need to do. And I'm all for discussing this and getting it on the agenda, but
Okay.
let's do it right, put it on the next agenda.
Okay, I wanna make sure then, from now on, the 1 o'clock deadline will be met. The agenda will be posted by 1 o'clock on Wednesday.
No,
No, no,
it
no,
doesn't
no,
say
no,
the
no. 1
agenda's
o'clock
posted.
is when
You
you
could-
have to have everything
1
in.
o'clock is
Look,
when you have to
if
have.
I
your
want
stuff.
something on, if I want
I
something
agree, I
on,
agree.
if I want something on the agenda, I gotta have it to Melissa by 1.
Okay.
Period. I don't expect an exception to be granted.
Which,
Is there a situation where it could be if there's an emergency or some weird thing?
That's how,
Maybe, but, as a matter of routine, no, I don't expect that at all.
I have to say that she gets us our agendas much, much earlier than anybody else has in the past. So I am really pleased with the fact that we get them that early and have a chance to go through them.
I appreciate that. I'll be honest, I did not know about the 1 o'clock deadline until I read the ordinance. So I
Okay,
just wanna share with you, it costs about $300 to plant and post. This would go on top, this would go on the bottom. They're made by the prison in Ontario, which we order all our signs from, according to the Public Works Department. It would cost $100 to time for the big machine. I guess when they dig stuff, they use a machine to deal with that. And probably 2 employees, because it takes 2 employees to operate the machine, about an hour. So about $300.
okay.
And I'll have that all for you on the next meeting. I just wanna make sure it's in your minds, so be aware.
Awesome.
So just to clarify, because I do feel like I need to say this, Counselor Lockhart. When you emailed me, you said you ordered me to put it on the agenda with a staff report and all the research done. And what I said is, I don't have time. You emailed me at like whatever time it was, almost 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock. The next day was a holiday and I was off Friday. And so I said, I do not have time to do the research. And when I say research, yeah, you did that. There's conduit in the ground. Where are you gonna put the posts? There's conduit in the ground.
Mhm.
So where are we gonna put the posts? You have to know where to put the posts. We have to do research to find out where we can put visibility, site issues.
No, it's not a side issue, we're gonna check that out.
Okay, well,
I'll get the
Okay.
information for you.
I will say we ordered a bathroom sign to go on the wall that says public restroom.
Okay.
So we will be
That
having
can't be
that.
seen from the highway.
Yes, it can.
We'll talk about it next meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Mitty.
My comment is, I think in some cases, we need to act more professional and show more respect for each other. Period.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Good reminder.
any?
I will say that Jensen's strategy, they're awesome.
Yeah,
My interview went great,
Oh, good.
almost 2 hours.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
That's awesome, Chris.
Mine was over an hour too.
Amelia,
Amelia. Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, she was very good.
Oh, July, you want to talk about July
Oh,
first?
well, are we finished with council comments?
Do July first.
Beg your pardon?
July 1st.
Talk about July, the second meeting in July.
The second meeting in July, we will not be having a second meeting in July. We will only have one on the 8th of July. So we will just have one council meeting that month. Okay,
What actually?
what?
I have comments.
You have some?
So, we are at the county, on my county job, we're reviewing the multi-jurisdictional natural hazard mitigation plan. It has to be reviewed every 5 years. The city of John Day is one of the participants in the county on this plan, which means that, somebody on staff, like, Dawn's been sitting in on these, participates in these meetings. There's a contractor that facilitates it. It's paid for by a grant from the state. So the contractor's from DLCD. Yeah, and, so just for your information, these are public meetings. There'll be another one in July. I was busy trying to look it up and for some reason I couldn't find it on my phone. But, I'll let Melissa know and obviously, Dawn will know. And you guys are welcome to participate in those meetings if you so choose. And what we do is we review all the natural hazards in the county, specifically for John Day, purpose, the city of John Day. Had a very interesting meeting, and Melissa was on that one, and so was, Henry,
Henry was that.
our planning, today from Gongami about landslide issues for the city of John Day. For Grant County in particular, Gongami did a study, and, they studied 3 areas in Grant County. The primary area though was the John Day corridor, Canyon City, basically from Prairie City to Mount Vernon. They did some stuff in Dayville and some stuff in Monument. John Day, about 35% of the land in the city of John Day is on a previous landslide, which means it's more prone to having a higher risk of slides. And there's things we can do to mitigate those things, and there's through regulation and planning, and there's things we can do to, mitigate it if there's already buildings and structures there. But it's very interesting stuff. It's really good to know. There's been some pretty spectacular landslides in the news the last few years. But we're unfortunately, this city in particular is got the most land inside it of any other community in the county. And that's just the way it is. So down the road, I think the council is probably gonna wanna consider, some planning regulations about, where you put a house. And, doesn't mean you can't put a house somewhere, but you gotta understand that you put a house here, you could be accepting risk. So it's mostly to inform people about their property and what the risks are. So anyway, that was kind of a side note, but that's related to the natural hazard mitigation plan that I hope you all can participate in. More input's better. And I'll make sure you guys get the date for that. On a minor side note, this will be my last city council meeting. I'm intend to resign from the council at the end of this month. It has been a wonderful experience. I love doing this work. And, I have thoroughly enjoyed everybody on the council, regardless of whether or not I see eye to eye with folks, I really do appreciate everybody's commitment, to the city of John Day. And, there's only so much, mayonnaise that goes on the bread, and you can only spread it so thin, right? So and I've got a lot on my plate. And I came into this, I volunteered in October of 23, at a time when, quite frankly, the city was in a bit of turmoil. We had no city manager, we had chaos, substantial chaos with the staff. We had a mayor under recall, there was just a lot of bad things going on. And so I felt like I had some experience and some tools in the toolbox that could help. And I felt responsible. I felt like, well, I care and I got the tools, and if not me, who else, right? So I volunteered, and there were 2 open positions. One was for, I think, like a year, and one was for 4 years or something like that, almost 4 years, 3 years. And, I didn't care which one. I got the long one, which is fine, it was fine. But I had in my mind a lot of things that I kind of wanted to do as far as, helping the city kind of get, level the boat a little bit. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate all the support I've gotten from this council and the people in the community in particular. Went through a lot, learned a lot. I've learned a lot being on city council, and I'm learning a lot every day. And I really want to thank Melissa. She's been a blessing to the city. She doesn't do everything the way that I would do it, but, she's committed, she's a hard worker, and she wants to do the right thing. I appreciate that about her. We got the strategic planning process teed off, and we've got a good budget. Financially, we're not operating in the red anymore. We've got a solid plan, trajectory for our wastewater treatment plant. I mean, things are going really good. And I just think it's time for somebody else to step up and kind of fill my spot, and for me to, go on and continue to do what I do at the county. And I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I just feel like it's time for me to step back and focus on, I got a lot going on this summer, folks. And as much as I'd love to stay, and this is one of the hardest things, telling, I don't want to let people down, but at the same time, it ain't about me, and, I'm just happy the city's moving forward. I'm happy that people are as engaged as they are, and, I'm happy we can have good, conversations, even if we're, not necessarily in direct agreement, but we can have good civil conversations and still call each other friends at the end of the day. I really appreciate that. And, so I'll be around. I mean, I've told Melissa, if she ever wants to bend my ear about something, she's welcome to. But, I don't necessarily expect that, but, the same goes for any of you. I love this community, always have. I got strong family ties like a lot of you do to this place. And it's just been a joy. So I look forward to, this council doing some great things and taking it to the next level. After you get rid of your dead weight here.
Definitely not
So when I
that.
nominated you for the 2008 position, I made a mistake.
Oh.
I don't think I did.
I think there might, well, Chris, and I tell you what, I really meant a lot to me, and I told you that. And I do appreciate it. And Chris, I do appreciate your commitment to this community. We don't always see eye to eye, but, most of it's just about style sometimes, and so, I really do appreciate your tremendous volunteer and all of you. You guys have been wonderful, and, it really feels good to be able to walk away kind of high water mark, at least for my time here, I feel like, and I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you. You have definitely been an asset to this council, and we appreciated having you. And we will not lose touch with you. I'm sure that our paths will cross many times in the future. But I know how busy you are, and I understand. Not that I like it, but I understand. So.
Here's hoping there's no emergencies.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
never know. I mean, it might be, Don and I were just talking, if we're bored this summer, that's a really good thing.
Yeah, really.
Done, get some projects done, and who knows what, but, it's not looking that way so far, so. We'll get to break that new fire truck in before we know it, I'm afraid.
I'd be happy if it sat there in pristine condition.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mayor, there's somebody who has their hand up online.
Um,
You want to take comments?
We did that at the very beginning.
yeah, we took public comment to the beginning, and I know they probably want to say something really nice about Eric, but, this is not the time, I'm afraid. Yes, Heather.
I really appreciate seeing the new fire truck tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dawn, for showing that off.
That was awesome.
I really think that's gonna be an asset to the community. And the second thing I had was Monday night, a land use meeting.
On the 30th, at 5:30.
Yeah.
But that's just for council and planners. It's not for the community.
Okay, yeah,
It's
that's what I
directed
figured.
specifically to you guys, yeah.
What night?
Monday,
Monday, the 30th.
5:30.
Here at the fire hall. And we have invited, as I said in my email to you, we have invited the other cities, joining us, and they have all responded. So I think we'll have a good crowd, and we are carrying the weight of the cost.
Is it Luba?
No, this is, LCOG, their planning attorney is coming to give teach a class on planning, land use planning.
Brad, you have anything?
Mayor, just,
Yeah.
in light of, Counselor Bush's announcement, would you like me to open up a council seat?
Can we possibly, does anybody have any objections if we wait on that for maybe,
I don't think you can.
maybe
because
until our next,
of the strategic plan.
I beg your pardon?
I don't think that that would be a good idea due to the strategic planning that is.
You get
in the
somebody. Okay,
They would still have their say if they were appointed to the committee.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't resigned yet, the 30th, it would be my, just to be clear. But, I mean, if you're gonna fill my seat, I hope that you do it as soon as you can and kind of continuity wise and, so you don't have, is that what you're kind of after?
That's what I was
Yeah.
asking what.
Yeah,
council
because I
would
mean,
do.
you know, you always wanna have a full slate if you can, and we got a process for it.
Would you be interested in
But that's just,
being from the community?
you guys get to live with it, right? So.
Would you be interested in being on the community outreach people for the strategic plan?
Outreach people.
Yeah, we're gonna ask certain people throughout the community to sit down and tell us what they want from the city too.
From stakeholders.
stakeholders, I think we were all asked who. we
Yeah,
thought
yeah, I mean,
would
sure, yeah, I mean, you guys just asked if I can do it, I will. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
Amelia asked me who might be, I would suggest. I
Yeah.
didn't give specific names, but I gave individual.
yeah,
Right.
I did the same thing in my interview as
Yeah.
well.
Okay.
Right.
I agree with you, Mayor. I think it's a big deal. Because the strategic plan is not gonna happen in a month or two.
uh, maybe we could, start in August recruiting, or since next month's a short month and
Well, do you want to take applications though? And then you can decide depending on,
all right, and then we can discuss it in August. Okay.
Deadline of when?
I
First
would
meeting in
I mean, you're only gonna have one meeting in July anyway. On
Right.
the 8th. So
Yeah.
if you end the application process the Friday before the first meeting in August,
Okay,
you'll have plenty of time.
yeah. Just, is that an agreement with everybody? Does everybody agree with that? Okay.
And does
Okay.
council want, well, never mind,
What?
oh, we can discuss as we go. I'll just
Okay.
open it up for applications.
Okay.
I would like to thank Eric, because I know what it's like to have a lot of things going on and get time to do this. And your professional opinions were muchly appreciated.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, you know, showing gratitude to people is really one of the greatest gifts you can give them. You know, I made a point when after 22 election, when Heather won, on Ron's last council meeting, I met him outside and I talked with him for a while, and I just, you know, I didn't agree with a lot of his perspectives, and we were cool with that. But I told him that how much I appreciated his commitment to the city of John Day and the volunteer time that he put in. And because regardless of whether or not you like somebody's ideas or policies, it is a commitment. And you know, it's thankless, you know, you walk out the door. But you'll forget about people here in about you'll forget about me in about 5 minutes, and that's okay.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, you know, and it's okay, it's all right, I've been there before, I've been the guy that all of a sudden, who is that guy?
I really appreciate your ability to take complex issues and breaking it down so that the average person can understand it.
Oh, thank you,
That
Yeah.
is not something that's easy
That's
to
a
do, and that's not something just anybody can do.
yeah,
I really appreciate that.
thank you.
Military training.
Okay,
Military help, yeah,
yeah.
it is.
And Ron Lumbum drives by my house every day.
Oh, yeah, we're-
Okay, and Third Street
Yep.
wants speed bumps, so, um. Everybody said their piece? I can adjourn the meeting now?
I'm done.
What? He's speechless tonight. Okay, there being no further business, meeting adjourned.